everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV shows, and of course, we feature a beer of the week. I am your host, Matt. Alongside me is your other host, Lauren. In today's episode, we are talking about The Exorcist 1973, the touted as one of the scariest movies of all time. And we'll be diving into some fun facts. We'll be talking about the background of it and talk about our thoughts about the film. But other than that, if this is your first time, please go to Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform, any social media platform. Please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. It helps the podcast grow. Go ahead. And also, if you want to support the show, patreon.com/hopsgeeknews is, where you can support the show even more. Everything goes into all the Comic Cons we go to, the stickers, the care packages we send out to our patrons. We give early episodes early, all of that good stuff. And so, like I said, if this is your first time, we do a are we drinking segments. We do what we've messed up on, looked into, if we have anything, that is, what we've been reading or watching. We talk about the news, and then, of course, we dive into a main topic. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We have a great episode. My beer and Lauren's beer of the week are from a place called Burial Brewing Company. You can find them in Raleigh. You can find them most notably in Asheville. Fantastic brewery. It's a double IPA called Just Enough to Keep from the Coffin. It is a 8.2% double IPA. Honestly, Burial is very, very top notch. Most notably, I feel like their stouts are absolutely killer. They have many tap rooms. Like I said, there's one in Raleigh, a couple in Asheville. If you have a chance to go there, fantastic. IPAs, just as good, but something about their stouts, man. Phenomenal beers. They're a little pricey. However, you get what you're paying for, man. It's not cheap to make this stuff.
I think
So,
it's about average for your phenomenal hazies,
well, the hazies, yes. But stouts, if you're trying to buy their stouts to go, it's like $20 a bottle, and they're,
but it's a bomber.
yeah, it's just reasonable. It's reasonable. But beer aside, support your local comic shops, support your local breweries. The beer is really good there. I can promise you that. Lauren, what are your initial
Yes.
thoughts of this?
I think it's delicious. I mean, when we did Asheville, Burial was hands down my favorite brewery. I love all of their hazies. This one's I wasn't sure what you sent, but as soon as you said Burial, I was like 100%. Yeah, let's drink that. But yeah, I've never had a sour from them. I wonder how they do those styles. But
They do pretty well. I had a couple when I was at the brewery. Actually, when we first moved, we stopped in Raleigh, so
nice.
you can't buy flights at their brewery.
Yeah.
It sucks, man. I always hate when you go to a brewery you can't buy a flight because typically they let you buy two small pours at a time, which is like, all right, interesting. I whatever, but they come in like $4 a piece, so they're a little depends. Some of them can be more expensive, but again, I just like buying flights. However, I drink my two, go back up, get more. So I tried all of their stouts, the couple sours they had. Flavorful, man. That's the easiest way.
Yeah.
Even their IPAs are just bursting with flavor, and
Yes.
that's what I drink. I drink for the flavor.
Like
And
this is subtle but flavorful at the same time. I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
no,
Did they
very much so.
still, because when we were at Burial, we went in Asheville in 2021.
Yep.
So it was still mask mandates, social distancing, all that stuff was still going on. And they only let us order like two and at each. And then the line was insane. So we only had two. We also wanted to hit, we went over to Dissolver after that. We wanted to hit other ones, but
Oh
I
yeah.
would have stayed longer if it hadn't been like a Disney sized line to get more beer.
That's fair. Honestly, we need to plan an Asheville trip anyways. It's about middle way for both of us at this point. But
Yes. And we had
man,
Kaylee with us. I'd love to go without kids.
honest, I can drop the kids off in Raleigh and just scoot on over. It's a 2 hour drive. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, honestly, with Burial, it's a little marketplace in Raleigh, and you can get food places there. So they don't have a kitchen there, but you can get food place. It's in like a food marketplace with a bunch of different options. There's bagels, there's your Mexican joint, there's a burger
Ooh,
joint,
you
there's
had
a
me at
bunch of different
Mexican.
options. It's a really, really nice market. It's pretty new in a nice little area. So I highly recommend going to that. And last, one more shameless plug because it's spooky season and I love these shirts. If you're on YouTube, you see this fancy shirt here. Roosevelt's, baby. Roosevelt's.com. Go ahead. Sign up. Tell them the geek sent you. Trying to maybe one day. I mean, I've got like 20 of their shirts. So check them out. They're wicked comfortable. They have sweatshirts out now. They're sweatshirts.
One day we'll have a promo code.
We will. One day we will. And no, legit, they just dropped some Star Wars sweatshirts. They dropped some Star Wars or night the old school Universal Monsters hoodies, and their hoodies
Mm,
look wicked comfortable. I haven't bought any of those yet, but I live for their short sleeve shirts. They have everything. Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, horrors. They'll be coming out the Christmas line soon. They do drops, all of that stuff. So check them out, man.
If anybody
Anybody's.
wants this floral jumper, it was $20 at Macy's. You can probably order it
You
online.
know,
It comes in many different colors and
Macy's
styles.
and like J.C. Penney are places that I completely forget exist.
So the only reason I went into Macy's, I went in going to do some shopping before our main trip, but there's a Hot Topic in this dying mall, and you have to walk through the Macy's to get there. And I just wanted to go to Hot Topic. I think it was actually before we went on the Mickey boat. I wanted to see if they had any good, Marvel or Disney or Star Wars kind of stuff. But Macy's, man, if you take some time on their racks, they can get some good sales. Like people
Carrie
forget
actually got
like
her dress
shopping.
that we went to Charlie's wedding there for pretty cheap. I mean, they got there's that and there's like the Nordstrom rack, which you can get stuff for pretty cheap too. But
Yeah, my
at the
mom used to. Oh, is
stores,
that? Oh, because the Nordstrom one's the cheaper one. Yeah, because I remember, or maybe they need. My mom would call Neiman Marcus needless markup. That's a totally different store. All right, we're off
anyways,
topic. Let's talk about The
we
Exorcist.
didn't
That's way
mess up
more fun.
anything. We didn't look into anything.
When we
Nobody's
have a
called us
guest, there's
out.
less likely for us to get messed
Yeah,
up.
we had Kenny Porter on last week of the Schlub. Go pre-order that now. And this coming week is Christian Ward's Batman City of Madness. So make sure you pick
Ooh.
up that as well. That's dropping this week. However, what have you been reading or watching on your end?
So I read this book this weekend called Sour Candy. It's a very short read. It's only about 70 to 80 pages. It actually came recommended by Ian, who has been on our Supernatural podcast before. And he's big into horror and horror. Like I actually just started a Stephen King book today that he also recommended. So I'm trying to read some spooky stuff this season. And it's really good. It's written by Keelan Patrick Burke. If you just search Sour Candy book on Prime, it'll come right up. It I didn't know where it was going. The ending shocked me, and it was just creepy from beginning to end. And again, 80 pages. Like Sunday morning, it was thundering and lightning outside. I sat on the couch with some coffee and read the book, and it was a lot of fun. You want a spooky, quick read this season? Highly recommend Sour Candy.
Ooh.
And the other outside of Ahsoka, the main thing I watched was Gen V.
I've only watched one episode of that so far. What are your initial thoughts?
So I did watch all three. I really like it. I love that they're building this world out. I love that there are so many, like, it's not just nods to the boys, it's very much so integrated. We're seeing characters from there. I saw a payback poster. So any bit of Jensen, I get excited, obviously. It is not as good as the boys, though. However, this next week, we're supposed to get Tech Night. So if anybody is not, I feel like we should do an origin story just on him. He's not huge in the comics, but in the comics, and keep in mind, I have not read any of this in a few years, and I've only read it once. His he's like they're kind of making fun of Batman with him, and he has like a my kids are out. He has like a sex addiction, and he has to like fuck everything.
Is that Jeffrey Dean Morgan's character? Is that who he's
No,
playing?
we don't know who Jeffrey
Oh,
D.
that's
Morgan's going
that's
to be
right.
in The
We weren't sure.
Boys.
That's right. That's right. That's right. You're right.
That
Yeah,
was who I was kind of
that was the
hoping
big
he would be because I thought it'd be
speculation.
funny.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so too. That's why for some reason I could just see him playing that role really well. And for my brain, that's who he's playing. Obviously not.
It would almost be like with just the way he like has owned Negan, and then even the comedian. I felt like he would have been a fun one to see
Yeah.
as that, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I've only watched the first episode so far. Good. I mean, the powers are interesting. I think because they don't shy away from things that just watching the different skill sets and power sets of some of these people are pretty interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
And the characters, like, I can only take this in like small doses. I'm one of those people that like have to really be in the mood to watch something like this because episode 1 she shrinks down and she's over here like slapping this man's dick and stuff, and it's just like I'm not a prude and neither is my wife, but we can only like take so much of just stuff like that at a time. It's just heavy and gross, and so I have to be in like that a weird fucked up mindset to actually sit down and really watch something that's equally as fucked up. Honestly, I don't know. I'm weird, I guess.
It's fun though, watching it. Obviously, I rewatched season 3 of The Boys, but when it ends and it's like based on the comics created by, and it says Garth Ennis and Derek Robertson, and
Our
because
friend
we had
Derek
Derek Robertson
Robertson.
on 6 months ago on this podcast, I was like, that's really
I
cool.
know it's always fun. Yeah, no, we did have him on. Go back and check that out. Have you read anything else?
Not really.
Man, I got a laundry list for you. All right. So first things first, I finished season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, and it has been renewed for season 4. We figured out the killer. I didn't know who it was going to be, and then towards the last couple episodes, I was like, I had a feeling, and it turns out I was right, and that's all I'll say there. It's a really good. I thought, man, something about just Martin Short, Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, they just work so well together, and I will scream it to the end of the universe. They get a bunch of fun cameos. Meryl Streep this season was a really big highlight. She was very amazing. She played this quirky, kooky character, and she was great in this series. So, man, we're getting season 4 at some point, and they left it off on a cliffhanger. That's all I'm gonna say about that season. And then I watched Ahsoka, of course. That season 1 just wrapped up. Of course, we're getting to season 2, folks. We are, I promise, going to do an entire season wrap
What?
up. We're
Yeah,
going to talk about the
the
entire season.
strike should be ending soon. They're
They're
going back to the
meeting
table to negotiate on Monday,
tomorrow
tomorrow
on
and
Friday, actually.
Monday.
Yes. So hopefully here soon, we're going to give you a full season recap. So I won't say much other than I absolutely loved it, of course. And then I watched episode 1 of Gen V. And then I saw 2 movies last week, one of which was called Paw Patrol. And the Mighty Pups, of course, that came out. So
I
we
did
took the
only see
kids and saw that. Legit good movie, man. You know, it's Paw Patrol. So
I'm
like,
so glad my kids are over Paw Patrol.
yeah, it wasn't bad. It was fun. So we went in there, went to the Regal, and they had like the Saw popcorn buckets and stuff. And I was like, oh man, imagine I walk in with like a big Saw popcorn bucket and all that. And then we were walking in, I saw kids carrying these mini Paw Patrol buckets. I was like, son of a bitch, I'm in. So I went back out. I spent $30 on 2 of those damn stupid mini popcorns and everything. And we got really into it. The kids loved it, of course. You know, I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, so they liked it a lot. It was the Mighty Pups. That was my Justice League. It was better than the Justice League. Uh, but
What
you
about the
know,
Snyder Cut?
it was better than Snyder. Man, look, that's the Justice League we haven't gotten yet. So decent. And then I saw early in that day, I saw The Creator, and man, that it was a good movie. There were some things that held it back from being a legit good movie. Like I'm not going to spoil it, other than the fact that like I did enjoy it. I thought the cinematography was beautiful. The story was well done. However, there were some moments like there's some really heavy emotional moments with like John David Washington that I really thought they could have held on to longer, because you really start to feel them and then they move on quickly into like a whole different tone. And then some people had complaints about the pacing. I didn't really have a problem with the pacing too much other than the emotional moments. But all in all, man, like it was interesting. And of course, it's kind of like a play on the Vietnam War and things of that nature. A lot of heavy racism, things of that nature. And I recommend you going to see it. It's a beautiful movie. Maybe wait till it comes out on streaming. I wouldn't necessarily pay to watch it again, but I'm Regal rich, so I'll go see any movie right now. And what you got?
I just remember something else I watched, but you finish first.
Okay. Well, I am gonna go see The Exorcist the beginning. Apparently, it's not doing too hot. It's getting slammed pretty good out there right now, and Saw's doing pretty well. I haven't seen that yet, but I did watch this movie called Wishmaster. It came out in 1997. It's basically this. It's got Robert England. He's this curator person, and they drop this very old relic that he's bringing into the States, and it unleashes a gem that this girl finds and gets a hold of because she works for one of those jewel people, and the thing explodes, and inside of this is a djinn who obviously grants wishes, and she has to grant 3 wishes so he can unleash hell on earth. And it's very, very cheesy, very 1997, but it wasn't bad. It was kind of what I was looking for to watch. But you've ruined me in the sense that I was watching this movie and I'm just like, Sam and Dean would have fucked this guy up
I
6
know, it
different
ruins
ways by
everything.
now. And I was like, I wonder what they would do right now. How would they do this? And the whole time, that's just what I'm thinking about. It's like Sam and Dean would have fucked this guy's day up. And so that's kind of just what I was thinking about the whole time. But man, it's not bad. It was on like Amazon Prime or some shit like that. We were just
It's like,
looking for a
welcome to
horror
my
movie.
life. Same with The
Yeah.
Exorcist.
Yeah. Oh, we did watch The Exorcist, which we'll get into. And then I read a couple comics. So Transformers issue 1 from Image is out with Daniel Warren Johnson. If you are a big fan of the franchise, this is fan. It feels like you're watching an 80s cartoon all over again. Beautiful artwork, beautiful writing. It really sets up a really great story. And then I sat down with our friend David Papos again this week to talk about The Devil That Wears My Face. And that's a new comic from Mad Cave Studios, which I highly recommend. Alex did the artwork, phenomenal artwork. Holy crap, was the artwork amazing. And it's just a story about a priest who gets sent to Spain to basically perform an exorcism, and there's a demon named Legion. And from that point on, it's basically described as Face Off meets The Exorcist in a way, is what David had said. And it's a really good comic book. Sets up something, a really fun run.
I
It's
love Face
very,
Off.
very creepy as well. So definitely pick up that. And other than that, what was the thing that you remembered you watched?
Do you ever see the thing, the various faces of Nick Cage, and it's all like different Nick Cage, and they're kind of like talking about
Face
his hairline basically,
off.
and then John Travolta's in the middle.
Off. I would get a poster of that so bad.
I remember seeing that movie. I loved that movie like more than I definitely should have when
I
I saw it.
loved. I to this day I am a very staunch face off defender. I don't care what it is. Who don't talk that shit around me. I defend it with my life.
I should rewatch it. I haven't watched it in a
We
minute.
should. We should.
So the thing I watched is actually Fear Street 1994 is on
Oh,
Netflix.
that's good. Yes, that came out. What was it last year when it came out?
I think it came out 2 years ago. So my
Time is a
niece,
flat circle.
yeah, my niece on Josh's side had been talking about it. So Brielle, my 11-year-old is now getting big into horror, and obviously that's a hard age to kind of
Yeah,
okay, what can you watch? Can you not watch? So I watched it with her. There were a couple scenes where I covered her eyes and closed her ears. But I loved the Fear Street books growing up. I read
they're
a ton
good.
of them. I read the Goosebumps and then the Fear Street, and I always thought I was, so cool and old reading them. So it was pretty good. It was pretty creepy, pretty scary, and it was funny because she was sitting on the couch with Josh, and about halfway through the movie, she's like, "Can I come sit with you on the recliner?" And she like squished next to me on the recliner. I thought she was going to end up in our bed last night. Fortunately, she stayed in her bed. But it was a lot of fun. There's two more. So it
Yeah,
goes back in time. So it's like the legend that it's based on then goes back to like
our girl
the
Max from
70s.
Stranger Things is in it.
Yes, that's how she sold me Maya Hawks in the first
Yep.
one. So you get another Stranger Things thing. And then it's the third one goes back to the 1600s of the origin of this witch.
In my opinion, the second one's the best one for
Oh,
sure.
good. The second one, though, looked like it had more scenes that I'm going to need to cover her eyes and
I would say
cover her
that one's definitely
ears.
ups the scary factor for a young kid a bit. Yeah, it gets kind
Well, I'm
of
not even thinking of the
gruesome too.
scary. I'm thinking of it looked like there was sex in that one.
There might be. I don't remember, to be
So
honest with
this one,
you.
there was a little bit of scene, and I'm like, oh, people are making out. That means they're definitely going to get murdered. Like,
Oh
just so
yeah.
you
Oh,
know.
you could just tell like this dude has like strong kill me vibes.
But again, though, with Supernatural, like, I was like, well, all you have to do is do this, this, and this. And I'm like, why aren't they salting it before they burn it? What are they
Yeah.
doing? Like, so that's straight where my head goes. And also, I need to start adding this every week. I always forget until we start talking. The comic review I did for Nerd Initiative this week was called The Midnight Show.
Oh
A
yeah.
lot of fun. It was written by Cullen Bunn. The artwork was done by Brian Hurt. It is like a meta kind of original monster story. So it's so much fun. I loved how it ended. Can't wait to read the second one. The artwork is gorgeous. If you like classic monsters and you like stories that aren't what they seem, go check that one out. And then Midnight is spelled incorrectly. There's no G or
Yes.
H.
Midnite. That's right.
Yep.
Speaking of which, I reviewed the Enfield Gang Massacre from Image Comics, and writer Chris Condon and Jacob Phillips is the artist. I've been reviewing this series. It's a 6 issue series, and this is in issue 3. The tone gets a little somber in this one. The colors are still beautiful. It's like the colors match the tones. Like in the first 2 issues, you have bright, vibrant colors. This one gets a little emotional, and so that you get like deep blues and stuff like that. But that's a really good one. I did watch one more thing. You reminded me. We always do this. We watched Haunted Mansion. I've seen it before. However,
Oh, that's right. That's on my to-do
it's
list.
on Disney Plus now, and we let
Yes.
Oliver watched it, and you can tell he was kind of scared at parts. You just sitting there. He was sitting with his hand on his head, just kind of like stressed out looking, but it's not scary
Is
except
that one
for
PG-13 or PG?
I think it's PG-13.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's a good movie though. There was nothing inappropriate, nothing too scary. Jared Leto's the Hatbox Ghost, and Jamie Lee Curtis is Madame Leota. Owen Wilson's in it. Tiffany Haddish is in it. It's Rosario Dawson,
Ahsoka,
of course.
Rosario
Yeah,
Dawson. Yeah, Rosario Dawson and Owen Wilson. Big week on Disney Plus for
that's
both of
right.
them.
Yeah, it's a good movie, man. Like it feels like the ride. This one is very much closer to the ride than obviously Eddie Murphy's, which they're very two different movies, same name. I like things differently about both. I don't like things differently about both. They're both solid films, and I think it does really well. It people kind of disliked it, but I thought it was a good movie, honestly.
The old one, I know we've talked about it before on past Halloween episodes, but the scene in the crypt where the little kids having to like
It
get the
gets
key or
creepy.
whatever, that's a creepy ass scene. Like that scene like had me like tummy
Yeah,
and knots kind of like I mean, I know they weren't going to kill a kid in a Disney movie. They only kill parents, except for
that's
Big
true.
Hero 6. They did kill a kid
That's
in
true.
that
They did
one.
kill a kid. Yeah, so
But
go check those out, man. Let's roll into some news. I got some news for you. Terrifier 3, because we're getting 3 of them for some reason. it's going to have a teaser trailer during this re-screenings of Terrifier 2. Damien Leone is helming that movie. Terrifier, I liked the first one, very grotesque, kind of like torture porn in a way, which I'm not a big fan of when it comes to horror movies like that. Terrifier 2, I really did not care for. It really crossed that line into like just pure
I
like
stopped listening after torture porn.
yeah, it
What?
was well the first one was decent, good. The second one just really went into the torture porn. And if that's your thing, man, like all for you. But this movie, it did really well. It went to the theaters, it did extraordinarily well. Now we're getting a third one, which
Do you mean like they're
I'll
sexually
watch.
assaulting somebody in a torturous
No,
way?
no, no, no. It's just more like there's these killing scenes just get really graphic and they kind of
Oh,
go on for
okay.
too long. And it's more of
Okay.
like it seems like how can they up the shock value versus like actually adding substance to what's
Okay.
going
I was gonna
on.
say if that is your thing, seek help.
Yeah, I
Like if
mean,
if what I was thinking in my head,
yeah, no, no. I say torture porn
like eight
because it's more of
millimeter.
just like they're just looking for gruesome ways to really mutilate people, and it has nothing.
Gotcha.
And then Art the clown is like that white clown, like he's really fucked up. And yeah,
Like when you
again, it's
sacrifice the story for shock.
yeah, that's exactly what it is. So personally, for me, not my thing. If it's you, great. I have no qualms. I will watch the third one. However, this movie here coming out, I'm in the bag for, man. Velocipaster 2 is wrapped filming. It's on Amazon Prime. Just go
Praise
watch
Jesus.
Velocipaster.
Pun intended.
I'm in the bag for it, man. Sure. Why not?
I
I saw
watched
the
almost
first
that
one.
whole thing sitting at the bar at Tactical
I
on mute
watched
with subtitles. I
I
just like
watched the
couldn't
first
take my
one.
eyes away.
I did. So that just finished wrap. Pre-sale tickets for the Eras tour in theaters have passed over $100 million. So Taylor Swift
That girl's
can't
on
get
fire.
enough of her. She's in the NFL now. She is taking up your movie theater screenings. It's the season of Tay, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Good for her.
You know what? Good. I would get the bag, man. Like that's
I'm
what
not
I'd
a
be doing
Swiftie,
too.
but I 100% support it.
Oh,
Well,
I
I
would.
liked her when it wasn't cool to like her, when she was country.
I did. I did listen to her when she had that too, and before she all that. So I was with you. I've been there since the beginning. I'm a Swiftie to an extent. I'm
Josh
getting
and I were
kind of
dating when our song came out. I used to tell him it was our song and it would confuse the hell out of him.
our we got married on the way to the courthouse. We listened to Shake It Off. That was
And
our go-to. So I got
that's in
Taylor Swift. I got
Supernatural in season 10.
yeah, I got a little thing about
You're
it.
almost
So
there.
speaking of more popular pop stars, Paris Hilton has a biopic in the works with A24.
She's also in Supernatural.
She is. And then Chris Rock is directing a Martin Luther King Jr. biopic, which there's no word on who's going to play him and all that stuff, but Chris Rock is directing. So I have to imagine it's going to be pretty good because I really like Chris Rock. He's a phenomenal actor. Uh, Not familiar with things that he's directed unless I've
You
watched
probably are
something
and don't
just to
know
know
it.
that. Yeah, that's probably what it is. But I'm stoked for that. The Spider-Verse 2 box set collection is coming out November 14th, and it's going to include both movies on 4K. It's going to include a 7-inch vinyl record, and then it's going to have comic book art cards and a replica of Miles' sketchbook. I'm probably going
Oh,
to buy
that's
this
fun.
because Carrie has a record player downstairs in our comic reading room, and so we've been looking for that soundtrack to play because the
Oh, I saw it
Spider
at
Verse,
Target today.
yeah, the Spider Verse soundtracks are sick. They're some of the best. Like
Mm,
the first one was way better than the second one in my opinion, soundtrack wise, but they both still bump.
they are really good. And I feel like they cross the generations.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. What's Up Danger? That's my favorite song off the first album, first and foremost, best song out there. And also, speaking of superheroes, pre-sale tickets for the Marvels begin on Tuesday. That movie is roughly
So
about a month
excited.
away. It's getting extended IMAX release because Dune 2 moved to March 15th. And so, which that got a PG-13 rating, just a heads up, that's been confirmed. And yeah, the
Did we
Marvels, we
think it would be
got
anything else?
no. But I will say this. I am really excited to watch the Marvels in IMAX because it's only going to be an hour and 45 minutes, which I have no problem with. I think that's perfect. If you have a story to tell, it doesn't matter how long it is, doesn't matter how short it is. Like it means we're going to get a lot of good stuff. And I'm excited to see, Kamala's back on screen, all of that kind
Yeah,
of
we got
stuff.
Monica
So
Rambeau. I'm excited to see her relationship with Captain Marvel because it's like,
same.
have they been in communication all these years or has she
I
not
don't think
seen
they
her
have.
since the first movie? Like how, and I would like to, because everybody made fun of her. Can I see the manager haircut in Endgame? Like, but then there was speculation maybe she shaved her head for Marie when she
Yeah.
got cancer. And I really like that theory. And I hope that's true because I also hated her. Can I talk to the manager haircut?
I didn't really, it just felt like weird. Yeah, I didn't really care
It
for
didn't
it
feel like
either,
her.
but Now, so I'm excited. I love Brie Larson. Pumped for
I do
that.
too.
Another show that looks really, really good is called Masters of the Air. Now it stars Austin Butler and Barry Keoghan. This is another Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks production, which you should know because they did Band of Brothers and The Pacific. So this is another World War II drama just like that, and it's set to air on January 26th on Apple TV. I'm gonna be watching the fuck out of this. Like, I love Band of Brothers is probably just damn near the perfect TV show out there. And if Tom Hanks is, helmeted up again, like I'm in the bag, 100%. And last, or I got two more pieces of news. James Gunn confirms that most future DC projects will be shot largely in London. Superman Legacy is going to be shot in many places across the world. However, their home base will be actually in Atlanta. And then, last but certainly not least, iCarly has reportedly been canceled by Paramount Plus after 3 seasons. They
I'm
left
so
on a real
confused. Hasn't that show been off the air for years?
they came back, and in a very kind of
With
adultish
a
way.
new actress, or it was the
No,
same
it's still her.
actress?
It's still the same actors and stuff.
Oh,
And so they left on a cliffhanger. In season 3, they were going to reveal who Spencer and Carly's mom was. But in true Netflix fashion, excuse me, sorry, I know this is Paramount, but Netflix made canceling things after 3 seasons popular. It's been canceled.
I created a diet.
And that's kind of like the issue with streaming services now is they just cancel shit. Like,
Yeah.
I'm still not over Santa Clarita Diet for one. Sabrina got canceled. It's just all these shows, they just continuously get canceled after a couple seasons. So, and then you wonder why people don't want to watch some of these new TV shows right away. It's because I don't want to get invested. And then two
Be let
seasons in,
down.
they cancel it. And I have unresolved, like, come on, man. I got parent issues. All right. I got enough things unresolved in my life. I don't need a
Just
TV
his
show
favorite
leaving me
TV
on the,
shows
yeah.
abandoning you.
Like,
I would still recommend Santa Clarita Diet because it's still really good, fun 3 seasons. But oh, what I wouldn't give to see that fourth season. That would
I
have been even more fun.
they should like be mandated to like give us one final episode to wrap things up if you're gonna
Write
cancel
a
shit.
book that or do something.
Give
Give us
me
some
two
closure.
hours, 2 hours of closure for every can't like, come on, man.
Yeah.
It's so
I
frustrating.
I love closure. I think that's one why I like Robert Kirkman comics, and
Yeah.
two why 6 Feet Under was one of my favorite shows because it ended beautifully. Could they have done another one and filled in holes? Yeah, sure,
Oh,
if they wanted to bring it
absolutely.
back, but they ended it just so perfectly. I didn't need any more.
Yeah,
But
it's too many shows, man. I don't know. So, what kind of news you got for us?
not much. Kevon Woodard, who was the little boy that was deaf in The Last of Us, that absolutely killed his role, and no pun intended, did amazing. He actually got an Emmy nomination for the role. So I think that is super cool. As a little kid, like that must be
That's
just
awesome, man.
amazing.
Yeah, he straight up he did phenomenal, man. There's a lot of good child actors out there right now working, and he's one of them for sure.
Right. But to be able to do that too and like be deaf and have it work so beautifully in the story and him still kill the role and be able to like cross those, boundaries and whatnot, like that's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. Anchor Brewing. So I got a little bit of beer news here. We all know Anchor Brewing closed this summer after being open for over 100 years and surviving prohibition. The National Museum of American History has actually collected some records and artifacts to preserve the history of the brewery. While I'm still upset this brewery closed, this will be the first time I don't have their Christmas beer in I don't know, probably 10 years. It's like someone killed Santa.
They
Um,
might as well have.
Santa's on strike, or it's like the comic that Steve Urena wrote. Santa's done. He's mad at all yet, so he closed up shop. But so if you want to visit that, it will be at the Smithsonian in DC, again, the National Museum of American History. I don't know when
Nice.
the exhibit will open or what's going on with it yet, but I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they didn't just
Yeah,
like end up in a
they're
warehouse
keeping it.
somewhere. Yeah. Like when you hear like, oh, this happened with that movie or that like TV show and
Batgirl.
oh, well,
Don't even get me
that's an
started.
extreme one. Yeah.
They shredded
The
it
first
though.
baby they just left out in like a field or whatever.
Oh, I was for a second. I was like, wait a second, what did they do with that shot? But I knew I
The
get what you're
car.
saying though. Yes. All right. Well, anyways, folks, we're gonna roll into our main topic now. We're gonna talk about The Exorcist, which came out in the year 1973. So we will be back in just a moment.
So, The Exorcist. The Exorcist came out December 26, 1973. It is based on a novel from 1971, which is supposedly based on a true story. This movie stars Ellen Burstyn, who's going to be in the new movie, Max von Sydow, Jason Miller, and of course Linda Blair as Reagan.
Now, real
Jason,
quick, I'm going to cut you off for 2 seconds because Ellen Burstyn is indeed in the new movie. However, she refused a couple times at first. So I just want to add, there's a quick, cool anecdote about this. She refused a bunch of money. They doubled it. She refused it again until they offered to do they're funding scholarships for her acting school that she runs or something like
oh,
that. So she really like held out until she decided to be like, hey, you know, Blumhouse, go ahead and fund scholarships, give money for scholarships for this school for actors and all that stuff. And so that's when she finally decided to join the movie. So
well, that's
big little
cool.
fun fact.
So Linda Blair, though, is not going to be in it, but apparently she was part of creating it. So she has a behind the
Oh,
scenes credit.
cool. I did not know that. I was wondering why she wasn't in it, but that's cool. Apparently
I'm
they're coming up with 3 new movies, just an FYI.
Yeah, it's gonna be a trilogy. I'm wondering if it's almost like a Jaws thing, like the shark finally got him kind of thing. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see. But Linda Blair was cast out of a pool of 600 kid actors, and she also went on to do the sequel, Exorcist 2, The Heretic, which apparently they did not get all of the demon out of her. There was some left, and it's only 15% on Rotten Tomatoes if you want to check it out.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah,
The third one though is supposed to be really good. I haven't seen that one in years either.
that one's from in 1990, and that one does have Damien, the young priest. And there's a couple others that we'll give you if you want to check out all those before the new one comes out. We'll go over all those before we sign off.
Absolutely. So, quick little recap of this film. We kick this movie off with a nice archaeological dig set in Iraq because they filmed in Mosul, Iraq, as well as New York City. Well, back before you can, when you can go to Iraq and not be a war torn country, of course. And so there was a creepy little statue that was uncovered, which turns out to be the demon Pazuzu, who is the demon that takes over
Which they don't
Reagan.
never say the name, but it's
They don't,
it's
but
like Bruce the shark.
yes, it's named, and so
Oh,
they
that's
cut
two
to
Jaws references. Sorry.
we're living. That's another good elevated horror movie. So they cut to a very fancy and famous single mother who is also an actress, temporarily living in Washington D.C. with her 12-year-old daughter, along with a lot of hired help. And
She's fancy.
her daughter then walks into the cocktail party, pees on the carpet. This is when things kind of start to go a little sideways. She starts to feel ill, walks in there. Which this scene always just makes me think of Scary Movie, where in Scary Movie, she walks into there, you guys suck, and just pees all over the floor.
Scary Movie is like all those movies that make fun of movies, like even Spaceballs. It's like ruined some other movies because then you only see those things.
That's all I see is when Reagan walks in there, they're doing like their big thing, and she just stands there and she just like pees the carpet while everyone stares. That's all I hear is "you guys suck," and starts peeing for like 5. I don't know why. Anyways, Reagan then begins to display odd sorts of things and make weird complaints about her bed shaking. For example, her mom walks in and she's not just complaining about the bed shaking. The bed is fucking shaking. That shit is wild.
She
Uh,
jumps on it. At first, she's just like, "Oh, why are you in my bed? Oh, my bed was shaking."
no, yeah. And then it gets kind of crazy. So her mother handles it the way we all should. She gets her brain scanned because visually watching a bed shake up and down, clearly there's something wrong with the daughter. So let's go get her brain scanned. The
I mean,
doctors
your
come.
first thought's not going to go to supernatural unless you're Sam and Dean.
No, first and foremost, if I'm walking in and my kid's bed is violently shaking like that, you better fucking
You would think it
believe
wasn't real. So, like to me, it was like, yeah, you take your kid
I'm
to the
going to a
hospital.
priest right away. And I'm not even religious. Like, no, I'm calling up Jensen Ackles, actually, if we're being
Oh, I'll do that
honest.
first too. Yeah,
Hey
yeah.
Jensen,
Okay.
my kid's bed shaking. I'm not gonna go to brain scan because this is clearly nothing to
I
do
feel
with
like
your
when you
mental
get the bed
state.
shaking, we can make the bed shake again
However, if you want to
or stop
contest
the
it out,
bed from
big guy.
shaking.
Anyways, the doctors come up with multiple reasons as to why her brain could be acting the way it is, recommending some psychological help. One doctor even recommends an exorcism at that time, but he offers it kind of as a placebo. Chris
That was
was,
made sense. It's kind
yeah,
of cool. It's like, well, are you religious? Well, you could do this, and even though it won't do anything, it may psychologically do something.
that's true. Very true. And Chris, who's a mother, reaches out to a priest who tries to brush her off, but also gives her the benefit of the doubt and is quickly convinced that he needs to talk to the church because to do an exorcism in the Catholic Church, you need to get the permission of the church to do anything. They approve it. However, They bring somebody in who has clearly done this kind of thing before, who is our priest from the very beginning of the movie. Essentially, his big final duel is going to be with Pazuzu. And the older, experienced priest then dies while performing the exorcism. Like, all right,
I feel like he knew he was gonna.
he did. I've definitely got that vibe as well. And at this point, Father Damien, who's the younger priest slash boxer slash
If
whatever he
he
was,
could just get laid, maybe he wouldn't need to go boxing and drinking and he has so
for
much
a
built
priest, my
up
man was smoking,
tension.
drinking, beating things up. Like,
But what
yeah,
else
he
are you
was.
going to do if you are denied a
That's true.
human need?
Very true. Very true. So in the end, Father Damien tells the demon to possess him. He jumps out the window,
Take me, such a
kills
noble thing to
himself,
say.
and Reagan remembers nothing and returns to being a which Reagan girl, you should have some pretty heavy scarring after the cuts and things.
Everywhere.
Like not to mention like who knows what that crucifix did to you. Like
Yeah,
again, that's another funny thing from Scary
probably
Movie
can't have kids.
that like I think Scary Movie did it too where she's like fuck me Jesus, fuck me Jesus.
Yeah, I think she did
I
too.
think it's
It
a
was
Scary Movie and that's
what is
all I
it?
think of too.
Star Lord's ex-wife. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember her
Anna
name. Anna
Faris.
Faris.
Yeah, it's the whole thing's just like that's what I think of. I can't take it serious. Like this movie legitimately used to scare me as a kid, and then Scary Movie and those movies happened, and now I always just think of like obscure things like that. But there's some gnarly stuff in this movie. The green thick puke when Father Damien first goes in to talk to her, and he's like, "What's my mother's maiden name?" And all of a sudden Reagan just goes, "Bleh," and I was like, "Oh, like that's
So that was
gnarly."
a genuine reaction. They told him that they were only going to hit the pea soup on his chest and it went in his face. So it only took one take because he genuinely acted like disgusted and repulsed.
I would too. Like that's good. I would. That's amazing. It was there. There's some really good. I like this movie, man, for a lot of reasons. This movie's very. It's a slow burn in a lot of ways, and they don't shy away from showing some pretty gruesome stuff as well. Like
Yeah.
Reagan, like for being a child actress, you know, god
Oh, she
dang,
did amazing.
she absolutely crushes this. Linda Blair was like
I mean, I judge her mom
phenomenal.
though, and her dad. I judge her parents.
Dad was never in the picture, so he gets a pass. Although, does he?
No, 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 not the ones in the movie, like her real parents
Oh, yeah. No,
for letting her be in this
I
movie.
mean, my 5-year-old daughter acts like Satan. So if they ever need to make another possession movie, I think I got a kid who can not just act, like be herself.
So I have a video of Kaylee when she was like 4 years old and she didn't want to go to the park and I was trying to put her pants on and I'm like, Kaylee, and in the video, I'm like, Kaylee, we're going to the park to go to the playground. We're meeting with, your friends. And she's just screaming bloody murder. And my boyfriend at the time, John, starts going, the power of Christ compels you. And Kaylee screams again. And every time he said it, she screamed again. And it's the funniest
The
fucking video I
water.
have of Kaylee. Yeah. But so the little girl who plays Violet in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, they were considering her for the role. And when her mom read the script, she was like, no, you're not doing this.
That's kind of funny. Honestly, that's too
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, well, hit us with your fun facts before we dive into our thoughts about the movie.
So I have okay, we'll do fun facts first. That works.
There's a
So
lot of fun
William,
facts about this one.
yes, and some cursed fun facts. So William Peter Blatty's novel, I mentioned that before, is supposedly based on a real life 1949 exorcism of a young boy who they use the name Roland Doe because they won't use his real name. And again, I add supposedly because I'm gonna call bullshit, but who knows? Police in Washington, D.C., where the movie was filmed, threatened to arrest anybody who sold a ticket to The Exorcist to any non adults, even if they were accompanied by an adult. And here is a quote from the mental website Floss, or from the website Mental Floss. In regards to that quote, while The Exorcist was a box office hit when it was released in the UK, in 1974, a handful of local religious groups protested the film's release and ended up getting it banned in certain areas, but it faced an even bigger challenge several years after being released on VHS. While the movie was released without issue in 81, the 1984 Video Recordings Act led to the movie being pulled from shelves in 1988. So this is like 15 years after the movie even came out. And it was because the film featured a 12-year-old girl that there was concern that it would be particularly appealing to kids in that same age demographic, which I'm going to call bullshit on that one.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, like the movie's been out for that long. I don't see the point of pulling it, but what do I know?
Right. And a lot of scary movies have kids. It took more than a decade for the film to be made available to home viewers, and in 1999, it was finally re-released.
That's
There you go.
crazy. Yeah. Well,
Um,
we did get that Supernatural reference, and Linda Blair was actually in a Supernatural episode, and we got the pea soup reference, which I didn't understand for the longest time until I watched the show.
it is very subtle at the very end, and they actually specify so it's Anderson's pea soup mixed with a little bit of oatmeal because apparently Campbell's soup did
Ugh.
not give the best effect. So if you really want to pretend you're, possessed by a demon, you want to mix Anderson's. I've never even heard of
I've never
Anderson's. Is that
seen
a brand that's
Anderson.
still
Is that
around?
still a thing? Yeah, I don't know even know if that's still a thing.
I don't know. I've only ever had Campbell's pea soup. I like pea soup with some salt. I think it's yummy.
Oh, gross.
I think it's good. I like peas. They just need salt.
That's some like when I was back around during the Depression era kind of food. Pea soup. Ugh.
My mom was a single mom. We ate food or we ate our vegetables from cans.
Pea soup.
All right. Yes, you want to take us after that? After the Supernatural 2
Yes, of
cameo,
course.
season 2?
Mercedes Cambridge. So Mercedes Cambridge, who voiced the demon, used smoking cigarettes and a diet of raw eggs and whiskey to help her achieve the demonic form. I never knew that this was actually a girl's voice. I thought it was like some dudes, which is
So did I,
crazy.
but I mean, I guess enough cigarettes and whiskey and raw eggs.
Interesting.
So Linda Blair was actually up to get an Academy Award nomination, but when it leaked that Mercedes did the voice stuff, they were like, we're not so sure about that.
That's lame.
It is kind of lame.
Huh. Well, when the demon gets finally exorcised from her body, the sound that you hear is a group of pigs being led to slaughter. That's pretty
That's really
gnarly.
sad.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty sad. Yeah. I can't believe that people actually asked Linda Blair to make her head spin as though that is something that she could legitimately fucking do. Like, how dumb are you?
They said in an interview she gets it all the time.
Like, it was kind of funny though in that scene where she does it and she just like like when she first does it, she's like, "Do you know what she did? Your cunting daughter." And it's just like,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
what the
She did
fuck?
say cunt a lot.
She did, but then like she just for a 1973 movie using that vernacular, like, all right, Jesus, kind of went hard on this movie, and I can see why it was banned in some ways, I guess, but not really.
The
But no,
effects are pretty
like
good for then too.
the
I feel like
effects are
that's what
really good.
freaked a lot of people out back in the day was like, this looks too real. How did you do this?
Well,
Whereas now we're like, that looks fake, even though it
that's
looks
because we use
phenomenal.
CGI for everything.
Right.
If we practical effects hold up, dude, like I don't care what you do. Like there's nothing better than some practical effects. And you can see it in a
Mhm.
1973 movie using practical effects like that. Like the fact that it still holds up in the year of 2023 of our Lord. Yes, practical effects are CGI is a fine tool to use to enhance, but you shouldn't lean on it like we tend to do. Like there's nothing I hate more than a horror movie that does CGI blood, for example, because that stuff just looks so freaking god awful.
Yeah.
Practical effects, people. Practical effects.
I feel like
And
that's why Tom Holland's such a good Spider-Man because he can actually flip and stuff.
I heard
So you
he
don't need
actually can crawl up the side of buildings.
that. I wouldn't put it past him. Kid's a ballerina, man. Ballerinas can
True.
do some extra special shit.
That's very
They're
true.
very underrated in their athletic abilities.
Yes. Well, the older priest was only wait, the priest who he was
Yeah,
only
I had to double Google this to make sure, but he gets a lot of makeup, so keep reading.
okay, so the older priest was
I
only 44 years old when he filmed this movie.
was
Although
like,
my
hold the
man,
phone. This dude's 4 years older
he
than
must have just got from
me.
Vietnam because this man was old looking. He literally just died in the
He
year
lived on
2020.
Tatooine and was in Vietnam.
This man did not age well at all. And it took 3 hours to age him up for this movie. There were even on-set jokes that he was wearing more makeup than Linda Blair when she was fully possessed. Yeah, dude. Like, he was the three-eyed raven in Game of Thrones. He was Lor Senton. That's who that was.
Yeah. Isn't that
Son
crazy?
of a bitch. I never knew that until
He
just
didn't look
now.
familiar to me at all in the movie. And then, because when I saw that, I'm like, there's no way in hell this dude was 44. And I Googled it and I was like, okay, they made him look older. And then uh, his pictures of him actually in his 80s, he looked familiar, but he didn't look
Wow.
familiar to me at all in Exorcist.
That blows
Oh,
my
yeah.
mind right now that he was in Star Wars. That's
And he
crazy,
just
man.
passed away in 2020.
I
So
didn't even know he
at the
passed
age of
away.
90, well, he was 90 when he passed. So he was still acting in his 80s,
All
not
right.
of only a few
Harrison
years
Ford,
ago.
too. That's crazy. All right.
I know. I
Wow.
can't believe Harrison Ford's 80.
Listen, often think about the fact that like Jack Nicholson, Harrison Ford are all going to be dying soon, and I actually get kind of sad because it's like these are actors that I loved growing up, and they're going to be dead soon. I'm never going to see them in movies again.
See, that's why I'm happy. I'm like a week older than Thor. I'm the same age as like Henry Cavill. Like we're all gonna die together, so it'll be making things better.
You
Jensen
think
Ackles only a few years older than me.
by
He's
the time
five
we
years
all
older
get
than me.
old, it's going to be like that movie, The Island, with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson, where we're harvesting organs because they
Oh
can grow
no.
babies in labs now for the sole purpose of taking their organs.
Brave New World. Yeah.
Anyways, this took a turn. At the end of M Street in Washington, D.C., you'll find one of the film's location landmarks, which is a set of stone stairs, now known as the Exorcist stairs. And they're a popular tourist spot today. I'm 2 hours away from there. I'm going to check this out because I've been to DC many times, but I've never actually gone to those stairs, and I don't know why.
I just said the pea soup one.
You did. So people literally puked during the movie, which is a reason that people would leave. And there was a very visceral reaction to this film. Parents were mad. It wasn't rated X. I think it was actually rated NC-17 back in the day for how the reactions it was getting and some of the things that went on. Some theaters actually began to hand out barf bags with their tickets, which is kind of crazy.
I can't. It's so stupid.
It was actually one of the
I
first horror
think we've
films
all
to
just
be
become
nominated.
jaded.
You're right, because I've never watched a movie and been like, I'm gonna throw up right now. Never, at all.
I'm trying to think.
Never.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the hardest thing I ever had to watch was that Game of Thrones scene where they killed the infant in the brothel. That
Yeah,
hit
well,
me harder
yeah,
than
but I
anything
didn't
I've
want to
ever
throw up,
ever
cry.
watched that wasn't
Yeah,
based on real stuff that was
yeah,
fictional.
yeah,
But
true.
yeah, I didn't have the urge to puke.
Never. This film
I
is
mean,
actually
being hungover
also.
in the subways of New York,
Oh,
I
well,
felt like I
that's
wanted to
totally
puke.
different, man.
Yeah.
That's come on. There's people-sized rats in those sewers.
Oh, it just smells like
I heard
piss.
there's even some Ninja Turtles around there.
Well, that'll smell like pizza.
Yeah. Anyways, this film was the first horror film to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture. Now, why don't you go ahead and you let us know about the supposed curse that surrounds this film?
So I do have one last fun fact before we go into it. So Linda Blair dated Rick Springfield, who sings "I Wish I Had Jesse's Girl," and the only reason I'm saying that is because Rick Springfield will later show up in Supernatural, and they were both in Supernatural, but I can't say anything more because it'll ruin something. Okay, the curse rumors. I do not think that this movie was cursed. If you ask Linda Blair, I remember watching an interview with her on like VH1 back in the day. Remember they would do the movies that we love or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so I remember her being like, there were rumors that something had happened to her. She's like, I'm still here because it was the internet was still getting popular, so people couldn't
Right.
Google what happened to Linda Blair. So there were all these curse rumors. So the film director calling, oh, those are some of my, I mixed up my notes. Never mind. Oh, no. Okay. So the film director in the movie who was calling people Nazi pigs and whatnot, who was actually, I think, hilarious and was making me laugh at him calling
I
everybody
agree. He was so
Nazis.
ridiculous.
In the movie, he's killed by the demon Reagan. She snaps his neck and she throws him out the window. He actually died before the movie came out, but nobody knows how. It was a mysterious death. He showed up with his neck broken at the bottom of stairs. No, he died of the flu, complications of the flu due to a flu epidemic that was literally going on
Yeah, but like
in
people
London at the
don't
time.
die from just a stupid flu, okay?
Right. The year of our Lord 2023.
Yeah, duh.
But it instantly made me think of Ray Stevenson because we just finished Ahsoka, and like I think it is absolutely, watching his last scene in Ahsoka, that's a bit
Beautiful scene.
heartbreaking. But I don't think that Ahsoka was cursed.
Okay, but then like the barbershop's cursed because Bernie Mac died of pneumonia, so
Oh, there you go. Oh, Bernie Mac. Watching Bad Santa hits different now because you got Bernie Mac and you got John Ritter.
true, very true.
So the woman who played Father Damien's mother, and she actually died in the movie, she
Your
also
mother's
died
in here
before the
with
movie came
us.
out. She was 90 when she died of natural causes, but she died before the movie came out. Again, 90. She looked like
Well,
she
so
was
she was
already
literally
dead.
playing herself dead in the hospital.
that that scene made me jump a little when they showed her like hospital bed real quick and she was like sitting up. I was like,
Nothing
whoa,
scarier than an old ass lady in hospice.
dude, that what is going on in the hospices back then? Everybody must be on some
I
good
don't think they
drugs.
got any better, but
Oh, weesh. The set for Reagan's family home burned down in 1972 after a bird flew into the circuit box.
cursed,
The
I'm telling you.
only okay, fine. I'll give you this one. Sure. Um, the only part of the set that survived was the bedroom where the exorcisms would take place. After the incident, which caused a 6 week delay, they brought in a real priest to bless the set.
First, I told you, you're filming about demons and shit. The bedroom
Uh,
stays alive because that's where Pazuzu was. That's a fun name to say. Sounds like Zazu.
it does sound like Zazu.
He's gonna Pazuzu left to go talk to Scar.
That's like the worst demon name ever because he sounds so friendly.
Yo, Pazuzu, my boy, you wanna crack some cold ones? Maybe smoke a cigar? I don't know. I feel like you'd be pretty chill.
It's
Rather
like a
than
fun
like
nickname.
I would throw up. That's something like my Pazuzu would throw up on people and drink Bud lattes.
Zuzu. Okay, now it sounds dirty.
Great. Now I'm gonna get cursed.
And you're Bazuzu. So Ellen Burstyn, who again played the mom, she suffered a spinal injury while being hoisted around on a harness.
It's
The actress
final.
said the moment she fractured her lower spine, you can actually see because that's the footage they use in the movie. Again,
To be
that's
fair,
just a
she took a pretty
shitty.
hard fall in the bedroom
She
at that
did,
one point where she like gets thrown against the wall and they throw the freaking closet on top of her. Like it's a pretty gnarly fall.
but it's not a curse. It was just a shitty person holding the lines.
Yeah. Or was Pazuzu there cursing the person holding the lines to break her back?
Pazuzu's like, make this look more real.
Pazuzu's like, I'm all about method acting.
Exactly.
Wait, so Pazuzu's really just Jared Leto?
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
He
That
does
just
want a
made him more
cult.
evil. Oh, didn't he have like a dead rat or something?
He
Something.
also sent like used condoms to Viola Davis. I don't know, man. Like he
Were they
if
his
somebody
used
was
ones at least?
I don't know.
Ugh.
It was Pazuzu's.
I mean, I'm all for safe sex. So during one screening in Rome, it was reported that a bolt of lightning struck a church opposite the cinema. I mean, it lightnings all the time. So
Thunderbolts and lightning. That was
they're
very,
very,
very
very
frightening.
frightening.
Pazuzu.
And I live in
Pazuzu. Pazuzu.
Florida. Like,
Pazuzu.
it's like jazz. Did you hear that Star Wars is trying there's talks that they're going to change the term jizz to something else because jizz is jazz in Star Wars. And
Oh, come
apparently that was
on.
okay back then, but now they're like, "Oh wait, that wasn't appropriate."
I'm
And
just
now they
playing
want to
my
change it.
jizz everywhere, man. Me and Pazuzu are just jizzing all over the
Make sure you double click that explicit button for this episode.
really have to make sure that one's clicked.
What was this beer? It was 8.2%. Okay. In America, one woman passed out and broke her jaw and later sued Warner Brothers for an undisclosed sum. What about this movie would make you pass out?
Or break your jaw.
I mean, if you pass out and you fall, sure, you could break anything.
Are we
You
sure
could
she wasn't
die.
doing something else in the theater and the other dude was sitting there and then got like frightened and then broke her jaw?
What was the early 70s?
God damn it,
Didn't they do a
Pazuzu.
lot of like angel dust back then? I don't
I
know.
don't know. Cocaine.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
It is.
Also, some of the cast and crew had family members hurt while shooting. Okay, so nobody was allowed to get hurt while they're filming a movie or it's cursed.
Correct.
Okay, that's good
Listen,
to
this
know.
was right at the cusp of the satanic panic, okay?
The satanic panic.
Everything could be attributed to that man Satan right there. Him and
We copyright
Pazuzu.
that. The satanic panic. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, that was a big
Um,
thing in the 80s, the satanic panic. D&D, the devil.
so this is my last thought on the curse. If Supernatural can go 15 years without a curse, The Exorcist was just fine
Or was it? Or is supernatural cursed?
with beauty
I'm just saying,
and
have you ever
grace.
seen Pazuzu and Jensen Ackles in the same room together? Think about it.
No, but if you do, it won't be for long because
Think
Jensen
about it.
will
Because there's going to be a whole lot
vanquish.
of jizz.
Oh,
Anyways, kids,
maybe
what
that's
do
how
you
they stop all the demons. They're just entranced with their beauty.
what did you think about this movie? Does it hold up to you? What are your thoughts on this movie and Pazuzu and Reagan and the whole family having a good old time in Reagan's bedroom?
So I think this was the first time I actually sat there and watched the whole movie from beginning to end. I thought I had
Wow.
seen it before, and once I started watching it, I'm like, I did not remember the beginning at all. I was like, what's going on? Why is it like at an archaeological dig? Why are we not in Reagan's bedroom? So um yeah, I didn't find it scary at all. Again, that could be just from years of Supernatural, but it could also be I did watch the beginning with my 11-year-old who wouldn't shut the fuck up the whole time. And what was really funny, so there was one inappropriate scene when she was still awake and I had to cover her eyes and her ears. And then fortunately she passed out before it got bad. And when she was passed out, Josh and I looked at each
She
other,
was
we're
one of
like,
those
thank
people
God
that
she fell
passed out during the
asleep.
movie. Would you believe that? I'm glad she didn't break her
And she
jaw.
broke her jaw. Yeah. She was passed out from disgust and fear. But what was really funny is about 10 minutes into the movie, she goes, she goes, doesn't an exorcism have something to do with the penis? And I'm like, Brielle, that's a circumcision. And I died laughing. So,
Oh my god.
and then I kept going back to it. So then I kept laughing throughout the
Just
movie.
imagine the doctor is going to circumcise somebody, be like, the power of Christ compels you.
I was like, I wanted to be like, well, a rabbi does a circumcision, a priest,
We're
or
calling the
yeah,
priest
a
on
priest does
this
an
one.
exorcism. Make sure you call the right, religious person, because that could end badly.
Oh my god. The power of Christ compels you. Snip, snip.
um, but I'm glad I watched it. I do like watching these old horror movies, and I honestly enjoy them more because of Supernatural. Because scary movies used to give me nightmares. Like I still can't even allow the Jeepers Creepers song in this house because that
Oh,
movie
dude, I
terrified
don't
me to
fuck
my
with that movie
core.
whatsoever. Jeepers Creepers 1, no can do,
And they
dude.
filmed it not far from here.
If people want to like go ahead and maybe we need to open up something where people can like pay us $2 and we'll talk about a movie, and that's the only way I'll watch that movie.
Somebody told me I should watch the second one because I'll feel some closure.
Okay,
But
the
like,
second one is actually funny. Like it's not that scary, it's funny. The first one though, no, screw that, man. The first one is legitimately scary.
oh,
I don't
see, now
care
you're
who
making
you
me
are. The
me
second
scared
one's
her.
funny. Okay, the first one's funny. The second one's funny. It's a little ridiculous.
I didn't like the idea of a monster you couldn't kill, but then after watching Supernatural, I feel like I can kill everything.
First of all, I feel like you could kill Jeepers Creepers
Just
because
need a wood chipper.
yeah, I was gonna say it. Okay, you put his ass to a wood chipper, he ain't regenerate. He has to eat something to regenerate. Well, what's he gonna
Right.
eat if he ain't got no fucking head?
And then you sprinkle some salt. Like Patrick said, well, what
And
if it
then
regenerates and you
burn
sprinkle
his
some salt on the
bones.
grass and then burn that area?
That's see,
Wood
listen.
chipper, salt, fire.
I feel like we could easily, maybe not easily, let's pump the brakes. However, I feel like no problem at all.
I mean, we'll have to overpower him first. And I remember him having wings, so that
He
might be a
does have
little hard.
wings, but he can't fly inside a house.
Okay,
What if
so we're
we?
gonna have the
All
wood
right,
chipper in the house,
no, we'll call
and then
Kevin
we'll burn the whole
McAllister.
house down.
Here's the deal: we get Kevin McAllister. All right, he sets booby traps all around the house. We booby trap his ass, and then we take him out back while he's all really tied up. Put him to the wood chipper, salt, burn,
Okay,
done.
and then we'll say a little Latin just in case too.
Yeah,
Adinos.
the power of Christ compels you. Jizz, jizz, jizz.
We're bringing Star Wars into it. We need Droopy McCool to be playing some jizz.
Actually, I bet you even he would respect that and stay dead at that point.
Like this was an honorable funeral. I will stay gone.
Oh, guys, you really thought this out. You bested me. Great.
So what did you like about this movie?
All right. I really like that. It was a slow burn. They didn't shy away from things. And Ray, Linda Blair was fantastic. She was really great in this movie. Really for a kid actress.
She did do a phenomenal job, yeah.
My favorite thing though to this day is practical effects. Like without a doubt, the practical effects in this movie are next to none, and that's what really makes it kind of scarier is because you really get to see her transformation slowly. She's slowly looking sicker. She starts to get the cuts. She starts to, just really get that demonic look about her. And to me, that's what's scary about this movie, or was scary. And it's a great movie. Like the acting is fantastic. It doesn't overstay its welcome. You get
Mhm.
death, you get your exorcism, like very iconic shots. So there's the iconic shots of, with the foggy stair scene where he's walking under the street lights. You get that scene where she breaks free of the bandages and she like holds it for a
You see the
second like she's
demon, yeah.
Undertaker rising up in the middle of the ring at WrestleMania. And it's really great. There's a bunch of iconic lines in this movie, and it's one that holds up to this day. So I enjoyed it, all jokes aside. And I know that we have some new movies coming out. So like I said, they have 3 new movies coming out. So if you want to watch them all, go ahead and watch The Exorcist, which came out in 73, The Exorcist 2, The Heretic in 1977, The Exorcist 3 in 1990, which is actually a really good movie. Then you have The Exorcist The Beginning. Shit, don't bother watching that movie. Dominion prequel to The Exorcist in 2005. And then The Exorcist Believer, which is out now and hasn't been doing pretty well in theaters. They bought the rights of The Exorcist for $400 million, apparently.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And the guy who did the three latest Halloween movies, DDG, not even going to say his full name because he doesn't deserve it, is
Damn.
the one that's helming these movies, by the way. And there's a correlation between the last two Halloween movies and this movie if it's not doing well. And I'm gonna point my finger at that asshole right now. Like, how do you fuck this stuff up? But I'm not a filmmaker. I can't talk too much shit. I'm just a guy in front of a microphone talking about jizz. So, anyways, the mom's back. Linda Blair's not there, and then Leslie Odom Jr. is actually in it, who plays a demon in Supernatural.
He's the one where with Becky when she got Sam to marry her.
Uh-huh.
That damn Becky.
Interesting. Well, she's in this movie. I'm probably going to still see it because I like to determine for myself. So I'm probably going to see it.
So report back next week.
I will be reporting back next week. Yes. While we'll
And
do that.
I will have info on or follow our socials and especially our YouTube. I'm going to Spookala this weekend, which is in Tampa. I'm only doing the one day. We don't have press passes or anything, but hopefully going to meet Vanessa Marshall. The little kid who plays Michael in the first Halloween movie is going to be there. Like a bunch of random horror stuff is going to be there.
Awesome. I love
Oogie
it.
Boogie is going to be there. Jack Skellington, Chris Anderson actually got COVID, so he won't be there, which I'm super bummed about because they
he is going to
canceled
be at Nightmare Richmond,
their
which
30-year
is
panel
this coming weekend, hopefully. So maybe I can salvage this yet because I got his press passes for that one.
All I gotta say is I was gonna wear my nightmare dress, not anymore.
You should do it anyways. All right. So at least somebody's there.
Well, I'll still
Support
have
the
my
cause.
Jack backpack on and my Sally watch and a lot of other
Vanessa
shit.
Marshall will be there though. So
Oh, I bought chopper earrings.
perfect.
I'm excited. I'm sure I'll see a lot of good stuff. Check out some good breweries. So definitely get some good content. And what we're recording next week, we don't know yet. So the Halloween is our
you guys pick
oyster.
it. Let us know. Yes, we have Halloween movies at the Wazoo or the Pazuzu coming out you. And let us know what you want to see. There's a lot of good horror comics. If you want to hear us talk about that, if you want to listen to us talk about, maybe we'll do Alien next week.
Oh shit.
I'm calling it right now. We're doing Alien next week. Stay tuned for next week. We are going to do
and
Alien.
We will be wrapping up season 7 of Supernatural, and we'll be making it up to you on how terrible we did on that first part of season 7.
That was rough.
I have already prepped.
That's my fault.
The rest of no, that was my fault because I was like, hey, we can record this real quick because we have some extra time right now.
We rushed through it, okay, folks. But
yeah.
So you know what? We're a second half team around here. We're going to bring it. All right. We're straight bring it.
I got good fun facts, good synopsises, and honestly, the last half of season 7 has got some great. You might hate Leviathans, but you love Charlie and you love a lot of other episodes.
And I have thoughts about that. So
I didn't either.
Subscribe, share with a friend, come hang out with us. That's tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell your kids, tell your uncle, tell your brothers. I don't care who it is.
Tell Stacy's mom.
Yes, that Hopsgeek News has got it going on. And we will see you all next week. Thanks for hanging out with us. Cheers, good people.